ashtrays. I don't just put cigarette butts out in window sills and tables and cups and plates.
Like, this is our grandmother, so how do you even feel comfortable coming in here to damage our grandmother's property? I felt disrespected, and that's another type of hurt.
Real people, real cases, real families in crisis. Relative Justice with Judge Rhonda Wills starts right now.
Daisa Bolden, you are here suing your cousin for $5,000 because you say she caused property damage to your house that you allowed her to rent. Okay, so Daisa, tell me how you two are cousins.
Our fathers are brothers. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up with them. I've known my cousin for about 12 years. And ever since I met her, it's like we clicked instantly. You seen her, you seen me, and vice versa.
So Ashley, what was your relationship like with Daisa before she sued you and brought you to court?
We were very close. We did everything together. Go out, have fun, trips with the kids. Then all of this happened.
Okay, so since all of this has happened, Daisa, what has your relationship been like with Ashley?
We literally have not had a relationship since. Once she moved out of my house, she completely blocked me. This is literally my first time seeing her.
How is it, Daisa, that Ashley, your cousin, started renting your house in the first place?
Ashley had fell on hard times, and my grandmother had left me a house that I don't really stay there. It's too many memories for me. It's emotional for me. When she fell on hard times, her and her kids didn't have nowhere to go.
So how many kids, Ashley, do you have?
3.
And Daisa says that you fell on hard times. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, due to COVID, I lost my job. So it was like hard for me to maintain my rent. And she was letting me stay at her place and pay a smaller amount.
So Daisa, how much rent were you charging Ashley to live in your grandmother's house?
I wasn't charging her any rent. Our agreement was she pays utilities. Family is important to me. With her, there was nothing in this world that I wouldn't do for her. So, of course, I'm going to allow her to stay there.
So Ashley, was that your understanding that basically Daisa was going to let you and your 3 children live in this house? All you'd have to do is pay the utilities?
Yes.
And did you pay the utilities?
Yes.
Daisa, how long did Ashley live in your grandmother's house?
She was there for about 9 months.
How often did you go over there to visit?
In the beginning, I was going over there once a week, once every 2 weeks. Everything was going good. So, but the same with me. I'm a grown woman, so of course I would want my privacy. So I gave her privacy and I stopped going around.
Okay, so about how long into the 9 months before you stopped going around?
I want to say probably about 3-4 months.
After that 3 or 4 months, did you ever go visit at all?
No, ma'am. Like I said, that house is too many memories. My grandmother actually passed in that house, so I hate going to that house.
I'm very, very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
So the last 4 or 5 months that Ashley and her children lived in the house, you didn't go visit the house at all?
Anytime me and Ashley would link up, it would be us meeting somewhere.
So where were you living while Ashley and her kids were living in your grandmother's house?
I'm in a relationship. I've been in a relationship for 3 years. So me and my mate, we have an apartment.
So tell me how it felt when you would go to your grandmother's house.
That's a childhood home for me. I was raised there. Literally every weekend I was there with my grandmother. My grandmother was my best friend. So with this situation, like with her passing, it really broke me. When my grandmother left me the house, it took me a good year to even go there.
Because this house meant so much to you, why did you agree to allow Ashley and her 3 children to live there?
Me and Ashley was so close. We were literally inseparable. I never thought I would be literally standing in court with my cousin.
Don't get me wrong. I was very grateful that you let me stay there. But everything that you saying was wrong with the house, it was never 100%.
Okay, so tell me about the things that were wrong with the house when you and your children moved in.
I mean, it wasn't 100% clean. So everything that she's saying that I did and left this place just so crazy, that's untrue.
So tell me what the house looked like when you and your children moved in.
It was dirty.
How is it dirty? Describe to me what was dirty about the house.
Cigarette butts, liquor bottles, stuff like that around the house. So I had to clean up. I cleaned up some when I left the house, But I mean, I did leave some stuff behind.
So Ashley, this was also your grandmother who
Correct.
lived in this house, who died in this house.
Correct.
Did you spend time as a child going to
Yes.
visit your grandmother at this
Yes,
house?
I did.
How did you feel about the fact that your grandmother decided to leave the house to Daisa and not to you?
Oh, I didn't have a problem with that. She was very close with our grandmother. So, you know, I didn't have a problem with that.
How did you feel living in the house knowing that that's the same house where your grandmother died?
It was sad, but at that time, like, I had no other choice. I had no other choice. I was living bedpost to bedpost and really couldn't trust nobody but her without some people talking about me or whatever.
How do you think the cigarette butts and the liquor bottles got there before you even moved in?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if she was letting somebody else stay there or if it was from her friends or her. I don't know.
Daisa, when you allowed Ashley to move into your grandmother's house, had you been having parties there?
No, ma'am.
Were you aware of any cigarette butts or liquor bottles in your grandmother's house?
No, ma'am.
The times, Daisa, that you went over to visit Ashley those first few months that she was living in your grandmother's house, did you ever see cigarette butts or liquor bottles around?
Yeah, Ashley smokes cigarettes and she drinks.
Did your grandmother smoke cigarettes?
My grandmother stopped smoking cigarettes, I want to say about 11 years ago.
Okay, so did she drink liquor?
No, ma'am.
So the cigarette butts and the liquor bottles would not have come from your grandmother?
Correct.
So Ashley, do you smoke?
Yes.
And do you drink liquor out of liquor bottles?
I mean, I drink liquor, but not out of liquor bottles.
Well, I'm not saying you're guzzling a 40 or anything. I'm just saying, do you have, liquor bottles around where you might pour yourself a
No.
drink from liquor bottles?
I mean, yeah, I usually have a bottle.
Were any of the cigarette butts and the liquor bottles in the house, were those items that you may have put there yourself?
No. I use ashtrays. I don't just put cigarette butts out in window sills and tables and cups and plates and stuff like that. That's not me.
Up next,
I done received phone calls from neighbors about them being over there fighting, it being loud, police getting called to my house.
You weren't one of the people calling the police, were you?
I did call him one time.
That old lady don't like me anyway, so.
hearing
Were any of the cigarette butts and the liquor bottles in the house, were those items that you may have put there yourself?
No. I use ashtrays. I don't just put cigarette butts out in window sills and tables and cups and plates.
Did you ever throw any parties at the house when you were living there?
No.
Did you ever have friends over?
A couple friends, but I really don't have many friends.
So how many occasions did you have friends over to the house?
Maybe like 3 times.
So
In 9 months.
the whole 9 months you were living there were only 3 times you had friends over.
Yes.
So Daisa, do
Yeah.
you believe that to be true, that she only had friends over 3 times?
Your Honor, I know for a fact that is not true. I done received phone calls from neighbors about them being over there fighting, it being loud, police getting called to my house.
Okay, so tell me about that. You got calls from neighbors?
Yes.
And what were the neighbors telling you?
How it was a bunch of people over there. They were loud. They can't sleep. Imagine it's the middle of the night. I work thirds. I'm calling Ashley from work, asking her what's going on. She's telling, oh, ain't nothing going on. Me and the kids laying down, getting ready for bed. How? I done got calls from my neighbors saying that the police was at my house.
Did the neighbors say why the police were over at your house?
They would be out there fighting and causing ruckus.
And who did you think was out there fighting and causing the ruckus?
The only person that I know that I left my house to was Ashley and her children.
So did you think it was Ashley and her children, or Ashley had people over?
Ashley was having parties.
I believe that you have listed a witness. So at this time, I'd like to call that witness. Her name is Joyce Ginyard, and she's going to appear via Zoom. Hello, Miss Ginyard. How are you?
I'm doing just great. How about yourself, ma'am?
I'm doing well. So, Miss Ginyard, I understand from Daisa that you are a neighbor of her grandmother's when her grandmother was alive and lived in the house.
Yes, ma'am, for years.
And how close is your house to Daisa's house?
Next door.
What did you observe happening after Ashley and her kids moved into that house?
Well, I had been going over there quite a few times. And every time I went in there, the house was a terrible wreck. I mean, dirty dishes everywhere, under the beds. The floors were so filthy, like they hadn't been swept or mopped in a while since they had been there. And I had never ever seen Daisa's house look like that. And when Ashley and her kids got there, it was a totally different house. It was loud and rowdy, and they had parties, and she had company more than 3 times.
So tell me what you observed when you're saying Ashley was having these parties.
I have seen over 3 times more than 10 or 15 people.
Daisa says that the police were being called to the house. Are you aware of that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You weren't one of the people calling the police, were you?
Truth be told, I did call them one time. Because it was just too much going on out there. I couldn't even sleep. It was just too much noise, and they went on for the wee hours of the morning.
Okay, Ms. Ginyard, thank you so much. I appreciate your testimony, and it's been very informative to the court. Thank you, ma'am. You are excused.
Up next,
And what is this?
My backyard. I couldn't even get pictures of the tub. The tub is like they literally use the bathtub as a toilet.
closed captioning provided by
The whole 9 months you were living there were only 3 times you had friends over.
Yes.
Your Honor, I know for a fact that it's not true. I'm calling Ashley from work, asking her what's going on. She's telling, oh, ain't nothing going on. Me and the kids laying down, getting ready for bed. How? I done got calls from my neighbors saying that the police was at my house.
I'd like to see any evidence that you have that Ashley caused $5,000 worth of damage to this house.
I have pictures and I also have invoices.
I'd like to see that, please. Daisa, can you tell me what we're looking at in this photograph?
That is actually my grandmother's bedroom.
And when did you take this photograph?
I took it as the cleaner was actually cleaning the house out. Like, the bed was so disgusting, I couldn't keep it.
This was the condition that she left your grandmother's bedroom in.
Yes, ma'am.
And what are we looking at here?
That was the dining room table.
And what are we looking at here?
That's my grandmother's dresser that I can't never get back.
And what is this?
My backyard. I couldn't even get pictures of the tub. The tub, it's like they literally used the bathtub as a toilet. It was feces in there. It was horrible.
So, Ashley, are you saying you found the backyard like this?
No.
So, did the backyard look like this when you left?
No.
Did your grandmother's bedroom look like that when you left?
No.
Daisa, did anyone live in that house after Ashley moved out?
No, ma'am.
So, you've submitted 2 invoices. One is an invoice in the amount of $4,438.50. Can you tell me what work you had done for this amount?
My tub was literally off level. They had to literally put my tub back to where it don't move. They had to replace the carpets. They also had to patch up walls.
What was wrong with the walls?
It was holes in the walls.
And then there's a second invoice that you also submitted to the court. And this invoice is in the amount of $1,063. Tell me what you had done for the $1,063.
I had hired a cleaning company. They are the ones who literally cleaned out the entire house and the backyard.
So you mentioned that there were things in your grandmother's house that were damaged that you can't ever get back.
Yes,
Tell me
ma'am.
about that.
Like, her bed was destroyed. It was a wooden bed frame. It was scratched up. It had to go in the trash. The dresser. What could I really do with that dresser? Nothing.
So after you found your grandmother's house in this condition after Ashley moved out, did you ever discuss it with Ashley?
I tried to contact Ashley and I was blocked.
So Ashley, why did you block Daisa?
I blocked her after she called making threats to me and my children.
What kind of threats was she making to you?
saying that she was gonna shoot up my new house, which she didn't even know where I stayed at. But we family. So she was asking people where I moved to and all of this. And then I really think that she found out where I moved to because something happened to my car. But I didn't put the blame on her. Like, this is embarrassing. Like, I feel like we could have handled this outside of court. Like, we had a bond closer than her siblings, closer than my siblings. Like, for real, I feel like it's just about the money.
I've never even talked to Ashley after that. When I reached out, I was blocked. And yes, I did ask where she moved to, because what you blocked me for? And I really wanted to confront her about the situation. I felt disrespected, and that's another type of hurt. This is our grandmother, so how do you even feel comfortable coming in here to damage our grandmother's property?
Judge Rhonda's verdict is next. Does someone in your family owe you money? Submit your case at relativejustice.tv. Promoted by
Ashley, let me first of all say, I think you have taken such advantage of Daisha. You and your children were in a really bad place. You basically had nowhere to go. And Daisha offered you a place to stay, and all you had to do was pay utilities. Now, I don't believe you when you say you only had a couple of friends over on 3 occasions. I believe the neighbor who lived next door for years, who said that you were partying and the parties were out of control.
That old lady don't like me anyway, so.
Well, Ashley, I
But
can
I'm
understand.
sorry. I apologize. Like, I'm very sorry that we're here. I'm sorry that the stuff happened to Grandma's house and all of that. Like, but I really want our bond back.
Ashley,
So
this could have been resolved. You blocked me. I haven't talked to you, seen you, nothing. We could have been way further. If you would have
Okay,
came to
so
me.
let me stop both of you. Ashley, you owe Daisha an apology. I don't know what was going on with you, but what you did to your grandmother's house was a disgrace, because that was your grandmother too. And you basically trashed her house, a house that your grandmother left to Daisha, something that had incredible sentimental value for her. She had your back. She was there for you. She was there for you and your children, and you took advantage of her. And you don't do that to family.
I know I did wrong by her, and I really do apologize. Like, you know I love you.
I love you too.
So Daisha, are you willing to accept Ashley's apology?
I can accept her apology. But I'm not about to sit here and tell you that we're going to go back to what we was. She got to regain my trust.
Ashley, is that something you're willing to work towards?
Yes.
Do you understand why Daisha feels the way she feels betrayed? She
Yes.
feels hurt. And I don't know what was going on with you, but you're going to have to make this right.
Right.
And
I
the-
came here to get a new start with my cousin.
Well,
Like, me and my children really miss her a lot.
We miss you too.
Well, I believe, Ashley, you've taken the first step, which is to be here and to own up to what you did and to apologize. But you're also going to have to make it right financially. And you're going to have to pay for the damage that you and your children and your friends caused to your grandmother's house. And I really hope, Daisha, that once she has made things right with you financially, I hope that you will forgive her. And I think one thing the pandemic taught us was family is all we have. So it is the judgment of this court in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's my ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And I hope you guys work everything out. Best of luck to you.
I just hope that we can get past this and, build our friendship, our bond back.
I feel so much better. And it's not even about the money. I feel better that she apologized, if nothing else. I love you. I love you. No matter what. Love you.